With the Azerbaijan Grand Prix slowly approaching, the 4-week break presented a great opportunity for the teams to install upgrade packages on the cars in order to improve overall performance. With Red Bull having a target on their back, which is still not shot at, 3 races into the season, rival teams have to react quickly if they want to have a go at it against the best team on the grid. Baku should be a time for changes on the leaderboards, a time which has now come not only for Mercedes and Ferrari as the underperformers in these 3 races, but for Aston Martin as well, which should finally make a push to finish above the 3rd place, which they have it as their own recently. The 2023 cars were first introduced in Bahrain on February 23rd, and during the race, the teams were able to identify the areas in which they were weakest and determine whether there was a relationship between the tunnel data and simulation programs and what they observed on the track. This information allowed them to begin planning their development programs for the year ahead. In just a few days at the Baku event, over 2 months will have elapsed since that race, and the results of all the sensor brackets and paraffin that covered the cars completely at Zahir will start to arrive on the cars in the form of new parts. The quest to find additional downforce remains the ultimate goal in Formula 1, as it helps improve cornering. However, other teams like Aston Martin are focusing on unlocking top speeds on the straights, while Ferrari is prioritizing race pace and reducing degradation. Red Bull is leading the pack with its policy of continuous improvement. Introducing new parts in almost every race has strengthened the car's performance and solidified its dominance. The upcoming street circuit in Baku, which features around 2 kilometers of straight road, is perfectly suited to Red Bull's strengths, and they have consistently performed well here in recent years. Other teams are looking to adopt some of Red Bull's solutions, particularly those that emphasize the efficiency of the floor and suspension. As for the main competitors in the Constructors' World Championship, let's take a look at what they are expected to have in terms of upgrades and improvements. After coming in a clear 2nd place in Bahrain and Jeddah, 2 tracks that have very different car requirements, Aston Martin was seen as the 2nd best behind Red Bull. However, in Australia, they were outperformed by Mercedes in both qualifying and the race, and even Fernando Alonso's impressive performance could not intimidate Lewis Hamilton, who claimed 2nd place. The reason behind this outcome was that the degradation in Melbourne was almost non-existent, something that the team was able to make count in the previous 2 rounds with the AMR23. Baku track is particularly hard on the rear tires, especially the right tire, with the clear example being the Verstappen blowout in 2021, as well as tire cuts experienced by other drivers. Even though these were different cars, the track stress, with a lot of left-hand turns, remains an issue, which could provide an advantage for the AMR23, as the car's strong point lies in its mechanical traction, which is vital for navigating these slow 90-degree corners, and it balances both axles effectively. However, the challenge lies in getting the front tires up to temperature to achieve optimum grip. Aston Martin is reportedly set to unveil its mid-low downforce package for this year, which will be used on other tracks as well. The package includes a new spoiler that has been discussed previously for the team, as well as modifications to the floor and front end. They may have a few more improvements than initially anticipated, but sporting director Mike Crack is cautious not to get too ambitious, as he warns that losing focus could result in a failure to improve, which in turn would cause them to fall behind in the highly competitive world of Formula 1. Nonetheless, they have already achieved an improvement in the winter that other teams have not achieved this year. Another challenge for the teams in the sprint format, which will have its first 2023 edition next week. With only 1 free practice session before qualifying on Friday afternoon, there are no other opportunities to make adjustments or retrace bad tracks, unlike the usual 2 free practice sessions. As a result, teams need to be confident in their car setup before arriving at the track. But despite this, Aston Martin plans to introduce new parts in Baku, Imola, Montreal, and Silverstone, with the goal of making incremental improvements instead of waiting to bundle everything into large packages. This approach is similar to Red Bull's style of factory work, which proved successful for Aston Martin in the AMR22 last year, according to Crack. What about Mercedes? As we know, they have changed the technical staff, adding the living legend James Allison back in charge of the technical department. So could this be of any help to the Silver Arrows right away? Well, probably not. The Brackley team faces different challenges than Aston Martin. Mercedes is fast on the straights, but struggles with mid and slow cornering as well as tire degradation, as was evident in Bahrain, and according to the technical director James Allison, the team's biggest priority is to gain overall downforce, and they are working hard in the wind tunnel to achieve this goal. They are also designing new mechanical parts, including different suspension components to improve the car's balance and drivability, so the drivers can push it to the limit with more confidence. In addition, they are continuing their simulation routine to prepare for upcoming race weekends and ensure the car is in optimal position for each race. We could expect some big changes with Mercedes, because the W14 has been difficult to drive since its debut, although it responded well to recent improvements, as seen in Australia. Indeed, the simulator has been an increasingly important tool in modern F1, as it allows teams to test and fine-tune their cars in a virtual environment before hitting the track. This not only helps them to arrive well prepared for the race weekend, but also allows them to explore different setup options and scenarios that may not be feasible or safe to test on the actual circuit. And with the introduction of the sprint format and the limited track time it offers, the role of the simulator becomes even more crucial, as it can provide teams with a valuable head start in terms of setup and strategy. Finally, Ferrari, a team struggling for years to find the right car and the right pace. In addition to addressing the underwhelming performance of the mid-load downforce kit in Jeddah, there have been rumors circulating in Italy about a series of upgrades that Ferrari may introduce for the upcoming race. The Italian edition of Motorsport.com reports that the Maranello team has expedited the development of a new diffuser and modified pontoons, creating a larger space between the radiator and the floor, similar to the designs used by Red Bull and Aston Martin. It should be noted that Ferrari has stated that there will not be a visual B car, or a drastic change in the car's fundamental design concept. Despite this, there is speculation that the team may adjust the side pods for the fourth race of the year. In addition, there are suggestions of suspension improvements for Imola and another bodywork evolution for Barcelona. These changes represent a significant departure from Ferrari's usual approach, which has traditionally favored consistency and stability throughout the season. Reports have surfaced recently that Carlos Sainz and Charles Leclerc have been conducting rigorous testing of the improvements and configuration of the SF23 in the simulator located in Maranello, and the priority for them is to ensure that the car has strong race pace and effective tire degradation control, rather than seeking elusive solutions to optimize performance on specific circuits. While the SF23 is typically faster on most tracks, there have been occasional issues with tire management during certain races. Although there were no such issues in Australia, it remains to be seen if this will be the case in Baku. Time is really of the essence for these three as the frontrunners behind Red Bull. Even though we might even see a surprising package in some of the mid to low table teams like McLaren and AlphaTauri, their cars and even drivers, with the exception of maybe Lando Norris, are simply not on the required skill level to compete against these powerhouses. Mercedes and Ferrari will be a sight to look out for in Azerbaijan this weekend, as the improvements they are implementing seem very promising, and their drivers have come out and said that they are pleased with how the progress is going. As for Aston Martin, well, they cannot disappoint anymore, can they? Alonso's 3 podiums so far allude to the amazing job the Silverstone-based team has made, and they can only go upwards from here on out, as Lawrence Stroll has a clear vision of where he wants to see his team. With the never-ending thirst for victories for the 41-year-old former champion and the young vigor coming out from his son Lance, we are predicting a very good season for Aston Martin, and they are probably the team that will sweat Red Bull the most in the fight for the 2 titles available. Let us know your thoughts and opinions. What do you think about these 3 teams, and can they come close to Red Bull? Thank you for watching. As always, see you next time.